The Zerathian fleet faltered entirely. Their massive ships, once symbols of unstoppable power, now drifted aimlessly, broken and leaderless. Mara's crew cheered quietly, tears mingling with sweat and soot. The Aegis, small and scarred, floated among the debris as a monument to human ingenuity and courage. "Captain," Erin whispered, her voice shaking, "we did it. We actually did it." Mara looked around at her crew, her eyes softening for just a moment. "We did more than survive, Erin. We showed the galaxy what humans are capable of. They mocked us because they couldn't imagine our spirit, but now they know. Never forget that." The Aegis drifted amid the stars, surrounded by the wreckage of an armada that had once thought itself invincible. Mara allowed herself to finally breathe, feeling the weight of the battle lift slightly. Earth was safe for now. But more than that, humanity had proven itself. A single prototype, mocked as useless, had obliterated an entire alien fleet. And as Mara looked out at the endless expanse of stars, she knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had seen the fire of humanity, and it would never forget it. The Aegis floated silently in the vast darkness of space, surrounded by the wreckage of the once mighty Zerathian armada. The explosions and chaos of battle had faded, leaving only the quiet hum of the ship's engines and the steady breaths of its exhausted crew. Mara Linton leaned back in her chair, her hands resting on the controls. Relief and exhaustion battled within her, but pride warmed her chest. Humanity had survived what no one thought possible. Lieutenant Erin wiped her forehead, glancing around the cockpit. "Captain, we're still alive. We actually made it." Her voice trembled, a mix of disbelief, joy, and lingering fear. Mara smiled softly, her eyes reflecting the stars outside. "We did more than survive, Erin. We showed the galaxy the truth about humans. We are not weak. We are not helpless, and we are never to be underestimated." Back on Earth, the Council gathered in stunned silence as live feeds of the battle streamed onto massive displays. The images of the Aegis, alone and unbroken amidst the alien wreckage, left no doubt. A single human ship had obliterated an entire alien armada. Some Council members wept quietly, others cheered, and a few simply stared, unable to comprehend what they had just witnessed. Admiral Kellen, his face lined with years of experience, spoke with awe. "They mocked us. The aliens mocked us, but they never understood us. Humanity does not bend. Humanity does not break. And this ship, this prototype, has proven it." Mara's voice came through the comms, calm but resolute. "The galaxy should remember this day, not because we destroyed them, but because we dared to fight, to defy, and to survive. Earth will not be a planet to underestimate. Humanity will rise to every challenge, no matter how impossible it seems." The crew of the Aegis worked silently, repairing minor damage, checking systems, and scanning the remains of the fleet. Each task felt smaller in comparison to what they had just achieved, yet each was necessary. They had carried humanity's hope through fire and death, and every careful action now ensured that hope remained alive. Mara walked through the narrow corridors of the ship, stopping to look at each crew member. Their faces were weary, smeared with soot and sweat, but their eyes shone with pride and courage. "You have done the impossible," she said softly. "Every single one of you has shown the galaxy what it means to be human." In the quiet moments that followed, Mara allowed herself to think of the engineers, the scientists, the programmers, and the countless people who had built the Aegis. They had worked in silence, in secrecy, and yet their creation had changed the course of history. Mara felt their presence with her, a silent chorus of human ingenuity and determination guiding her hand even now. Outside, the stars seemed brighter, reflecting the hope that had been rekindled across the galaxy. The Zerathians had learned a lesson they would never forget. Humans were clever, resourceful, and relentless. They had fought with courage that no machine, no army, no weapon could fully anticipate. Orion, the AI, spoke quietly. "Mission success complete. Humanity has survived. Probability of future threats high but mitigated by current victory." Mara nodded. "Then we remain vigilant. The galaxy is vast and there will always be new challenges. But for today, humanity stands proud. Today, Earth's heart beats stronger than ever." As the Aegis turned back toward Earth, the crew allowed themselves to relax just slightly, feeling the weight of victory and the joy of survival. Across the planet, millions celebrated, tears mixing with laughter, hearts filled with pride. Humanity had faced impossible odds and had triumphed. Mara stood on the observation deck looking at the blue and green jewel of Earth below. "We are small," she whispered, "but we are unstoppable. The galaxy may have doubted us, but it will remember this day, and it will remember us." The Aegis hummed softly beneath her feet. A small ship that carried the spirit of an entire species. Humanity had proven its courage, its ingenuity, and its heart. And in the quiet aftermath of battle, one truth remained clear. The galaxy would never underestimate Earth again. The Aegis drifted through the vastness of space. Quiet now, its engines humming softly like a heartbeat. Mara Linton stood on the observation deck, her eyes tracing the sparkling stars that stretched into infinity. The battle had ended, the Zerethian armada shattered and scattered, and yet the weight of what had happened settled on her shoulders. One small ship had faced a galaxy of enemies and survived. Humanity had risen. Lieutenant Erin approached quietly, her steps soft against the metal floor. "Captain," she said, her voice trembling with a mixture of exhaustion and pride, "they'll never forget this. Not the aliens. Not anyone." Mara nodded, a faint smile brushing her lips. "They will remember. But it's not just about them. This is about us, about every human who refused to bow, who believed even when hope seemed lost. The Aegis is more than a ship. It's a symbol of our spirit, our courage, our determination." Across Earth, news of the victory spread like wildfire. Cities erupted in celebration, people cheering in streets, tears of relief and pride streaming down countless faces. Children pointed to the sky, dreaming of the stars. Scientists and engineers felt their years of work vindicated. Humanity had faced what no one else dared face and triumphed. Mara thought of the crew, their bravery, their sacrifices. Each of them had stared into the face of death and refused to flinch. She walked down the corridor to the control room, where Aaron and the other crew members were busy scanning the remnants of the alien fleet. "You all have done the impossible," Mara said softly. "You carried the heart of Earth with you. Never forget that," Orion, the AI, spoke calmly from its console. "Captain, humanity's position in the galaxy has shifted significantly. Their strength and ingenuity are now recognized and respected by multiple civilizations. Probability of deterrence against future attacks high." Mara smiled faintly, her gaze returning to the stars. "Deterrence is not enough," she whispered. "We must always be ready. But for now, we celebrate. For today humanity has shown its fire, and fire cannot be contained." The stars reflected in her eyes, bright and endless, and for a moment, Mara felt a deep connection to every human who had ever dared to dream, to fight, to survive. She imagined them watching from Earth, hearts pounding with hope and pride, and she knew that their courage had flowed through her and the Aegis, guiding every maneuver, every shot, every decision in the chaos of battle. A new message came from the distant Council of Allied Civilizations. "We have witnessed humanity's bravery and ingenuity. The Aegis has set a new standard in galactic warfare. Your species is now recognized as a formidable power." Mara allowed herself a rare, quiet laugh. Recognition was important, yes, but it was the knowledge of what humans could accomplish that truly mattered. It was the reminder that even when mocked, underestimated, or feared, humanity would rise, adapt, and fight with every ounce of its heart. She returned to the observation deck, staring out at the endless void. "The galaxy may have doubted us," she murmured, "but they will never doubt us again. Not as long as humans breathe, create, and fight. We are small perhaps, but we are unstoppable. And the Aegis will always remind them of that." The ship hummed beneath her feet, carrying the crew, the legacy, and the spirit of Earth itself. Somewhere among the stars, alien commanders reconsidered their arrogance. Somewhere across the galaxy, humans celebrated quietly, dreaming of the future they had secured. Mara closed her eyes for a moment, letting the quiet victory wash over her. The Aegis had done more than survive. It had rewritten the story of humanity in the cosmos. And the galaxy had learned one undeniable truth: underestimate humans at your peril, for their courage, ingenuity, and heart are limitless. As the small prototype ship drifted onward, leaving trails of light in the darkness, it became more than metal and technology. It became a legend, a symbol, a promise. Humanity would endure, would rise, and would never be broken. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, echoing the unyielding spirit of a species that refused to bow. And in that moment, Mara smiled. The Aegis, small and mighty, had carried humanity's fire into the galaxy, and its flame would burn forever. As found their marks, direct hit. "Captain, the shields are failing," Aaron shouted, relief and disbelief in her voice. Mara allowed herself a small smile. "Then it's time to finish this," she whispered. Her finger hovered over the main cannon trigger. This was the moment. One perfect shot could shatter the heart of the alien fleet, turning fear into victory. The Aegis charged forward, weaving through debris from destroyed drones and smaller warships. Explosions illuminated the stars in brilliant bursts, lighting the cockpit in fleeting flashes. Mara's eyes never left the target. She felt the weight of every human life, every engineer, every scientist, every soldier who had given their all to protect Earth. Their sacrifices pulsed through her veins like fire. "Fire," she commanded. The main cannon erupted, releasing a blinding beam of energy that tore through the void and struck the command ship's core. The impact was catastrophic. A shockwave rippled across the alien formation, sending smaller ships tumbling in chaotic spins. Mara felt the vibration through the hull of the Aegis, but the ship held firm, alive and resilient. Alarms blared across the alien command ship as Mara and her crew watched the impossible unfold. The once mighty war machine cracked, splintered, and exploded in a brilliant spectacle. The Zerathian fleet, stunned and leaderless, faltered. Their formations collapsed and fear rippled through their ranks. They can't be real," a Zerathian commander hissed, disbelief and terror shaking its voice. "One ship. One human ship." Mara felt a quiet thrill in her chest. She had expected disbelief, but not this, not the sheer astonishment that one small ship could wield such power. "Humans fight with more than firepower," she murmured. "We fight with heart, courage, and every ounce of spirit we have. That is our true strength." The Aegis emerged from the chaos, battered but unbroken. Stars reflected in the crew's eyes as they realized the enormity of what they had just accomplished. Mara allowed herself a moment to breathe, but there was no time to celebrate. The fleet was still vast, and Earth's future depended on their next moves. Yet in that moment, the impossible had been achieved. One prototype, mocked and underestimated, had destroyed the heart of an alien armada. Humanity had spoken, and the galaxy would never forget the name of the small ship that dared defy the odds. The Aegis. The Aegis floated amid the wreckage of the shattered Zerathian command ship, its hull scarred from the intensity of battle. Mara Linton's hands shook slightly, but her eyes were steady, focused on the task ahead. The command ship was destroyed, but the alien fleet still loomed in the distance, massive and threatening. Every surviving vessel turned toward her small ship, ready to finish what their leader had failed to do. Lieutenant Aaron's voice broke the tense silence. "Captain, they're coming. All of them. They'll overwhelm us if we stay in the open." Mara's jaw tightened. "Then we don't stay in the open," she said firmly. She had studied every possible scenario, memorized every maneuver, and planned every strike. The Aegis was fast, agile, and deadly, but sheer numbers could drown even the most precise weapons. Strategy was their only hope. "Take us through the asteroid field," Mara ordered. "We'll use the terrain. Their size is a weakness, not a strength." The Aegis darted into the dense field of floating rock and debris. Massive Zerathian cruisers hesitated at the entrance, their long hulls struggling to navigate the tight, jagged passage. Smaller ships followed blindly, crashing into debris, exploding into clouds of metal and fire. Mara's eyes never left the holographic map. Every twist, every turn, every evasive action was calculated to perfection. "Enemy fire incoming," Aaron shouted as beams of energy sliced through the void. The Aegis shivered but moved with uncanny precision, dodging each strike as if anticipating the enemy's intent. Mara could almost feel the ship responding to her thoughts, their bond stronger than steel. The alien fleet pressed forward, determined to overwhelm the lone human ship. But Mara's tactics exploited every weakness. She lured them into narrow passages, flanked them with rapid maneuvers, and struck when they least expected it. One by one, alien ships were destroyed. Plasma torpedoes ripped through their hulls, and the Aegis's energy cannons tore apart their shields with surgical precision. "Captain, shields are down to 20%, Aaron warned, sweat glistening on her forehead. Mara's eyes blazed with determination. "Then we fight smarter. Don't let fear dictate our actions. Every human who came before us fought in impossible circumstances, and we carry their strength with us. Focus." The Aegis spun, dodging a massive volley of laser fire while simultaneously firing on two cruisers at once. Explosions lit the asteroid field like fireworks, illuminating the fear on alien faces and the courage in human hearts. Mara felt a surge of pride, not for the destruction but for the unity, bravery, and determination of her crew. Each of them had risked everything to protect Earth, and now their courage was paying off in ways no one could have imagined. Suddenly, a massive Zyrathian battleship loomed ahead, its weapons aimed directly at the Aegis. The crew held their breath. Mara didn't hesitate. Engage the flanking maneuver. Orion, predict their every shot. We end this now. The Aegis weaved through the oncoming fire, dodging death with near-superhuman precision. Plasma torpedoes launched, striking the battleship's engines. The massive alien vessel shuddered and exploded, its destruction sending a shockwave that disabled nearby enemy ships. Mara's crew cheered, but the captain remained calm, eyes scanning for the next threat. Even as the remaining Zyrathian ships tried to regroup, their morale was broken. One by one, their formations fell apart. Mara knew the battle was far from over, but victory was no longer a distant hope. It was within reach. She allowed herself a quiet smile. They thought numbers would make them unstoppable, she whispered. But they forgot one thing. Humans fight with heart, courage, and determination. That is our true weapon. As the Aegis maneuvered through the battlefield, its small but mighty presence became a symbol of hope. Every move, every strike, every daring maneuver reminded the galaxy that underestimating humanity was a grave mistake. Against all odds, the Aegis was alive, and humanity's spirit burned brighter than any alien armada could imagine. The remnants of the Zyrathian fleet hesitated, their formations broken, their command shattered, yet they still swarmed like angry hornets determined to crush the small human ship that had humiliated their armada. Mara Linton's hands gripped the controls of the Aegis, her knuckles white, but her eyes burned with unwavering resolve. This was the moment that would define humanity in the galaxy. Lieutenant Aaron's voice cut through the tense silence. Captain, their numbers are still huge. Even scattered, they could overwhelm us if we're not careful. Mara shook her head slightly, a quiet smile forming. Then we hit where it hurts. We finish this now. One strike, perfect and decisive. Every human life back home, every hope, every dream. It all depends on what we do next. The Aegis darted through the debris of shattered ships, weaving through trails of smoke and fire. Plasma torpedoes streaked silently, striking isolated enemy vessels. Each explosion lit the void like fireworks, a deadly yet beautiful display of strategy and precision. The Zyrathians were powerful, but they were slow, cumbersome, and unprepared for a ship that moved like a shadow and struck like lightning. Mara glanced at Orion, the AI, its calm voice contrasting with the chaos outside. Captain, I have calculated the optimal strike pattern. Targeting the remaining heavy cruisers simultaneously will create a chain reaction. Probability of success 74%. 74%? Mara asked, eyebrow raised. We don't gamble. We make it 100. The Aegis surged forward, engines humming with raw power. Mara's fingers flew over the controls, coordinating torpedoes, lasers, and evasive maneuvers with flawless precision. The alien ships fired relentlessly, but each attack seemed to miss by a hair. Each maneuver outsmarted by the AI's calculations and Mara's instinctive skill. Captain, we've cleared the first line, Aaron shouted, her voice a mix of relief and exhilaration. They're faltering. Mara allowed herself a brief nod. Good, now the second line. Focus, crew. This is our moment. The Aegis struck again, targeting the remaining heavy cruisers. The explosions rippled through space, tearing apart engines and weapons. The alien ships, once arrogant and confident, now scrambled in confusion. Mara's heart pounded, not with fear, but with the raw thrill of hope. The hope that humans could endure, could fight, could rise above impossible odds. From Earth, billions watched the transmissions, hearts pounding. Humanity's courage was on full display, and every person alive felt the pride of knowing their species would not bow to fear. Children, soldiers, scientists, elders, everyone witnessed a small ship defying a galaxy-wide armada. Mara's voice came through the comms, steady and commanding. Hold your ground or retreat. Your choice. But know this, we are humans. We fight, we survive, and we will never be underestimated. The Aegis sat quietly in Earth's orbital hangar, its silver hull gleaming under the artificial lights. To anyone else, it looked like a small, fragile ship, almost like a toy compared to the massive warships of alien empires. Yet inside its frame pulsed the most advanced technology humanity had ever created. Every line of its design, every weapon system, and every piece of code was a labor of love, painstakingly crafted by engineers, programmers, and scientists who had worked in silence for years. Captain Mara Linton walked along the hangar, her boots echoing against the metal floor. She paused beside the Aegis and ran her hand along its smooth hull. "They don't see you for what you are," she whispered. "But I do, and I will make them see." Her eyes reflected a mix of determination and quiet worry. The Aegis was more than a ship. It was Earth's hope, a fragile hope, some might say, but a hope nonetheless. The aliens, the Zyrathians, had laughed when Earth unveiled the Aegis. Massive, multi-kilometer dreadnoughts loomed in their fleets, bristling with weapons that could obliterate planets. And here was Earth, sending a single prototype ship. Pathetic, one alien commander had sneered in intercepted transmissions. A human toy. "We will crush it like an insect." Mara clenched her fists. The mockery stung, but it also fueled something deeper, a fire that refused to be extinguished. Humanity had faced impossible odds before. On Earth, her people had survived wars, famine, and plagues. They had endured. They had adapted, and now, in the quiet hum of the hangar, Mara believed in the impossible. The ship's AI, designated Orion, activated softly as Mara approached the cockpit. "Good morning, Captain Linton," it said. Its voice was calm, almost soothing. "All systems are operational. Readiness status 100%. Mara smiled faintly. "Thank you, Orion. Today we show them what humans can do." Inside the control room, Lieutenant Aaron adjusted the displays, reviewing the star maps and fleet data. "Captain," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "the Zyrathian Armada has already reached the edge of our system. Their numbers, they're staggering. Even if we survive, we might not get back." Mara's jaw tightened. "Then we survive," she said firmly. "And we win. Not because they think we can, but because we refuse to fail. That is what makes humans dangerous. They never give up even when hope seems gone." Outside the hangar, the first signs of the alien fleet appeared as tiny specks against the stars. From orbit, their presence was terrifying. Ships the size of mountains moved in perfect formations, their hulls reflecting light in a menacing way. But Mara refused to look away. Instead, she let her mind focus on the strategy that would take them by surprise. Stealth, speed, and precision, these were humanity's weapons, far sharper than the Zyrathians expected. As the sun rose over Earth, golden light spilling across the blue planet, Mara climbed into the cockpit. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of every human life resting on her shoulders. Around her, the crew of the Aegis prepared silently, their faces etched with fear and courage. They were ordinary people thrust into an extraordinary moment, and yet in that fear, there was a unity stronger than steel. "Prepare for launch," Mara commanded. Her voice was steady, but inside her heart raced. Outside, the aliens laughed, confident in their superiority. But the Aegis waited quietly, humming with potential, ready to defy expectation. Mara's hand hovered over the controls. She thought of the people who had doubted humanity, the sneers from alien commanders and the countless voices mocking the Aegis. She smiled grimly. "Let them laugh," she whispered. "They will see. They will all see." And as the engines ignited, the small prototype ship lifted from the hangar, a beacon of hope and defiance. Humanity's fight had begun, not with fear but with courage. The galaxy was about to witness a force it had never imagined, the indomitable human spirit. The Aegis moved through the void of space like a shadow, sleek and silent. From a distance, it looked fragile against the massive Zyrathian Armada, their ships like mountains drifting through the stars. Mara Linton gripped the controls, her knuckles white, yet her mind was sharp and focused. Every move they made had to be precise. One wrong calculation, one missed maneuver, and Earth's last hope could be destroyed before it even fired a shot. "Captain, the enemy fleet is massive," said Lieutenant Aaron, scanning the holographic displays. Her voice trembled slightly, but her eyes were determined. "Even if we make it to the command ship, we'll face overwhelming resistance. We might not survive the first volley." Mara didn't flinch. She had expected this. "Then we survive by being smarter than they are," she said calmly. "They've never faced humans like us. They don't understand how we think. We don't fight by their rules, we fight by ours. The Aegis slipped between the enemy ships, its advanced cloaking system hiding it from even the most sensitive Zyrathian sensors. Mara felt the ship shiver as the engines hummed beneath her, but the feeling was familiar now. This ship was alive in a way, a fusion of human skill and cutting-edge technology. Every decision she made felt like a conversation with the Aegis itself. Together they could do what no one believed possible. Approaching first defense perimeter, Orion, the AI, reported. Multiple hostiles detected. Probability of detection 42%. Probability of successful engagement 33%. Mara smiled faintly. Then we make it 100%. Her voice was quiet but carried a weight of certainty. Her crew, sensing her calm resolve, steadied themselves. Fear was natural, but courage was what made them human. Suddenly, explosions lit up the distance. Human patrols that had attempted to slow the aliens were being destroyed one by one. Mara's heart ached for those brave souls, knowing that most would not return home. But there was no time for mourning. "Focus on the mission," she said softly, her eyes scanning the enemy formations. "Every second counts. Every move matters." As they approached the inner edge of the fleet, Mara plotted a path straight toward the massive Zyrathian command ship. It was heavily shielded and bristling with weapons, but Mara had a plan. "We're not going in for a straight fight," she explained to Aaron. "We strike at the heart. One shot, one opportunity. If we hit them right, we can turn this war around before it even begins." The asteroid field ahead offered a risky path. It was narrow and treacherous, but it would force the alien fleet to spread out, making them vulnerable. Mara's hands moved instinctively over the controls, adjusting thrusters and weapon systems. Orion predicted enemy movements, sending suggestions at lightning speed. Every calculation, every maneuver brought them closer to the command ship. The silence in the cockpit was tense, broken only by the hum of the engines and the quiet clicks of the AI's communication. Mara glanced at the stars ahead, seeing the glittering enemy ships in formation. It was a terrifying sight, yet it only strengthened her resolve. "They think numbers make them strong," she whispered. "But they forget one thing. Humans fight with heart." A distant beam of light streaked across space. Enemy fire had begun to scan the area. Mara's stomach tightened. "Hold steady," she ordered, her voice firm. The Aegis darted like a predator, slipping between shots, each movement precise. The first test of their abilities had begun, and the small human ship danced through the storm of destruction with uncanny grace. "Captain," Aaron said, her voice barely above a whisper, "we're in range of the command ship. This is it." Mara's heart pounded, but her eyes were clear, focused. "Then we go," she said, feeling the surge of adrenaline, fear, and determination. "For Earth. For everyone who ever believed we could survive." And with that, the Aegis pushed forward into the heart of the storm, the quiet small ship carrying the weight of humanity's hope, ready to face the impossible. The Aegis glided silently through the void, its small frame weaving between the massive Zyrathian warships. The closer they drew to the command ship, the heavier the air, or rather the vacuum, felt in Mara Linton's mind. Every second brought them closer to annihilation, yet her heart burned with determination. This was humanity's moment, and failure was not an option. "Captain, the command ship has detected us," Orion announced in its calm, emotionless voice. "Enemy defenses are activating. Probability of survival, 22%. Mara's hands tightened on the controls. "Then we beat the odds," she said, her voice steady but fierce. Around her, the crew of the Aegis braced for the storm, hearts hammering with fear and courage. Every human on that ship knew the risks, yet no one faltered. They were ready to carry Earth's hope through the fire of the galaxy. Suddenly, beams of red energy lanced toward them, slicing through the darkness of space. Mara maneuvered the Aegis with precision, twisting and diving between volleys. The alien weapons were unlike anything humanity had encountered, rapid, deadly, and intelligent. But the Aegis was designed for this. Its hull shimmered with adaptive shielding, bending light and energy around them, absorbing attacks that would have shattered ordinary ships. "Shields holding, barely," Lieutenant Ariane reported, her voice tense. "We need to act fast." Mara didn't hesitate. "Target the command ship's power conduits." Orion, lock on. The AI responded instantly, calculating trajectories, enemy movements, and environmental hazards. It predicted every evasive maneuver the Zyrathians could attempt. Plasma torpedoes, invisible to the naked eye, streaked silently through space, weaving past defense drones and impact shields. One by one, The turrets of the command ship flared and sparked as the torpedo,